All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm going to try and do this drive time video. I want to talk a little bit about the current market status. Like around last week, basically, some of the coins had drops of about 30%. There was some manipulation. We know a lot of the whales were front running the retail. Those are old news, right? I'm looking at the current status, and obviously BTC and Ethereum held strong, so they held their own, which is great. But amongst all of the good and bad, right? So we see the altcoins, they dump severely. They are going to come back, right? So I'm not bothered about the altcoins, especially the blue chips, especially the top tier altcoins out there. I think they'll come back, right? Believe me, they will come back. Now, when we're looking at BTC and Ethereum, BTC seems to be doing okay. Pretty much holding its own. I don't really see much of an issue because we have mentioned that the 24,500 is still in play, and any trader should understand that, okay, you need to understand or assume your worst case scenario. So we do understand that 24,500 is our worst case scenario. Even though the market's currently sitting at 26,000, it doesn't change anything for us until we go above 30k and stay above 30k. So until we get there, bottom figures, lower numbers, definitely in play. So we're going to hold tight and hope we don't get to that level. However, the reason I say hope is because Ethereum is showing a little bit of a weakness. So on the weekly charts, if you do go and look at Ethereum, you will see that it is actually showing a bit of weakness. We're currently at $1,700 and something for Ethereum. But if Ethereum can't hold and does not push through its highs, it could easily go to around $1,500, and then if it doesn't hold the $1,500, the worst case scenario for Ethereum right now is $1,000. That's the only other point I can see, unless you want to go even further back, right? So this is like the short-term low. When I look at it, it's 1,000. That's dangerous. That's a very significant portion. That's showing a 40%, 45%, I would say about 40% dip from where we are right now. So anybody who's holding ETH, just be cautious. Anybody who's looking to buy it, this is your opportunity. Obviously, this is not a financial advice. Obviously, do your own research, do your own thing. But this is what I'm seeing on the chart, right? So I am seeing Ethereum showing signs that there could be a potential for us to get to the $1,500 level. And if we can't hold that, then we might even go to the $1,000 level. So I wanted everybody to understand this. However, if you look at Bitcoin, it's the complete opposite. Bitcoin 26 is great, not a problem. We could go back to the 25,500 or go and test the 24,500. So the difference for BTC is a lot lower. Now, I don't know what's going on, but none of this is based on news. That's something you have to understand. This is not based on news at all. I'm looking at charts that are weekly candles, right? So each candle on my chart represents a week. I'm only looking at the longer term, the technical data on the chart. I'm looking at the stochastic RSI. I'm looking at the RSI, right? RSI has been stagnant, to be honest. I haven't really seen much of a movement or any clear indication what the RSI wants to do, but I have seen what the stochastic RSI wants to do. And so far, the stochastic RSI is pointing down, right? So stochastic RSI is saying, look, we're not ready to move up again. So this is how I'm kind of looking at the market. I'm like, okay, here's my information. Here's what the candle is showing me. We're in a particular point, and how low can we go? So to use some predictability, we're saying, okay, stochastic RSI is saying we might actually go down. So that's something I'm looking at. And that's all I wanted to really update you about, right? Because everything looks good, and you probably see a lot of people become bullish again because of the CPI data, because of the FOMC, whatever nonsense coming out soon, because of the news about Gary Gensler being kicked out, SEC, CFTC, you name it, all of them, doesn't matter what it is, right? I mean, I've mentioned on a video recently, I'm not sure if I've published it or not, but I think I have, right, where I feel that it's a political battle right now between CFTC and the SEC. It's a political battle when it comes to the power structure in the institutions who are governing financial markets, I've got a feeling that it's political. This got nothing to do with retail investors or anything like this. It's absolutely, in my opinion, it is definitely to do with politics, nothing more, right? It's left versus right. That's what's going on. So I'm completely ignoring all of that as well. I'm not looking at any of this thing, because ultimately I think, right, and if I do talk a little bit about CFTC and SEC, they're having this issue regarding who controls crypto, right? They want to control crypto. CFTC, Commodities Futures and whatever they call it, right? Well, commission, whatever, CFTC, right? Derivatives Commission, whatever. The point is they're trying to take power over crypto and let SEC do all the other stuff with established institutions, right? Or like stocks and whatnot and this and that, or the financial markets. Now, the thing is SEC is obviously caused a lot of drama in the market. SEC's job is to protect the investors. In fact, more investors have lost money, and the largest sum of money, for valuation at least, because of what SEC has done compared to any mega scam on the planet, right? So SEC has literally scammed you, robbed you of your freedom, and basically, instead of protecting your wealth or protecting investors, has actually created a situation which harmed majority of the investors globally. So this one SEC in one country has actually impacted the lives of billions of people around the world, right? If not, it could be millions, but I would say it could be in the billion, because remember, we are in the billions right now. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm looking at. Again, it's just my opinion, not financial advice. It's just how I feel right now. Now, CFTC, they want to take it, right? Commodity Futures and Derivatives Commission, or whatever you can call it. I hate these acronyms, but anyway, I'll stick to the acronym instead of the full name, because it's so long. They want to take power over crypto, right? They want to take control over it. But the definition of CFTC is commodities, futures, derivatives, right? Now, if crypto itself as an asset class doesn't fall into any of those categories, then do they really have the right or the power to actually control that? Again, you see what I mean? This kind of dramas are constantly coming up. So when you start looking at SEC, they have a job. But again, are they relevant to crypto? I don't think so. CFTC, they have a job. But again, are they relevant to crypto? I don't think so. So I think that in the future, if this battle between SEC and CFTC, whichever party wins, right? And I've got a feeling that the CFTC will. If they do win this, would it really change anything for crypto, or could they now have the power to go and regulate crypto in a complete different way? And I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, if they do stop leverage trading futures and whatnot and this and that, it's fine by me. I don't see a problem with that. But are they going to impact the spot trades? Because the majority of the people are spot buyers. Majority are spot buyers. Most people don't gamble. That's what CFTC's job is, right? To prevent people from gambling money away, to make sure that the houses, the players who are providing the service are not cheating you. That's what their job is, right? So the way I'm looking at it is, are they going to prevent us from buying on spot? Because spot is the biggest industry for crypto, in my opinion. Of course, minority who do leverage trading, who are obsessed with it, who are addicted to it, literally gambling, they might say otherwise, right? But that's a minority. It's not majority. Majority people are hodlers. Majority people are spot buyers. They spot buy, they spot sell, right? That's what we would call the shrimps, right? The shrimps don't go around risking their asset. They got very little to start with at the beginning. They're just hoping for the best, right? So they're not going to go and risk, right, a lot of money on the leverage trades or anything like this, futures or commodity or whatever you want to call it, right? But that's what it is. Now, the other thing is if commodities, futures, whatever, they take it off, CFTC takes on the management of crypto, or actually regulating crypto, does that automatically class every single crypto as a commodity? Do you know what I mean, right? Because there has been an argument going on, right, where, what makes something a security? And, we've been getting all forms of expressions, I would say, right? Different people expressing what a security would be. Now, for me, a security is very simple. If a company is offering you their crypto for something, right? So say, right, we're trying to make this company, and we are selling XYZ amount of crypto to VCs and whatnot. To me, immediately, the moment VCs, venture capital, banks, and other institutions get involved in buying first, that's a security, full stop. There is no ifs and buts, right? If this is offered to the retail right from the get-go, then it's a different story. I don't think that's a security, right? That's just giving people an opportunity to go. Now, whether they speculate or not, that's a whole different story, because speculation has this whole different thing, right? For example, my grandma had a clock, right, which I feel, is 25, 30 years old. I feel that might have value. I've researched and I've checked that around the world, there's not many of these clocks remaining, right? So I've taken this clock, which I've inherited for free, and I've done a valuation. It turns out it's worth 100 times more than what it's worth. So I'm now going to sell it to somebody for 100 times more than what it was bought. The reality is it worth 100 times more, or is the inflation 100 times more than it was before? Probably the inflation was. So I'm just balancing inflation, nothing more. So then somebody comes along and says, right, okay, I'll buy this off you. They buy it. If they bought it and then they can now resell this for 10%, 20%, 100% more, does that really make them a speculator? Or did they buy on a speculation? Or in fact, did I make a promise that they could actually sell it for more? I didn't. Neither did my grandmother. So end of the day, speculations are, the word itself is kind of vague, right? You're not speculating. Sometimes you just buy things because you like things, right? Sometimes you buy things because you want to support things. Like if you go to Kickstarter and you buy into a project that you like, and I've done that quite a few times, right? Where I've liked a particular project and I've bought something, and the project founders have promised to give me some sort of perks, mostly discounts or whatnot. So a product, for $100 instead of $300 retail, right? That's all I got. Now, if I then say, well, actually, when this product releases and I'm going to sell it for $300 to the people who can't get one, does that immediately make the Kickstarter project a security? It doesn't. Do you see what I mean? So the definitions are not clear. And most of the definitions that are made are actually kind of vague, because, everything could be a security if the SEC decides, right? If the SEC says, right, every single person, farmers, growers, you name it, whatever, right? You go and, you work in the field, you're going to plant some seeds. Well, you're going to be selling tomatoes, right? So your tomatoes is now being speculated that you're going to be selling this tomato when in the right season, you might sell it for $1 for a pack or whatever, or maybe $2 in a bad season or whatever, if you have the stock. So that's a security, right? That's what SEC is doing. Right? Okay, fine. We leave SEC aside. We say, right, CFTC has taken it now, right? If they take it on board and they say it's a commodity, right? Which means that you can hold it, you can own it, you can do whatever you want with it. It's like oil or whatever, right? Then it becomes a whole different story, because you can't really regulate that. Because, for example, gold, right? There is no law in the world that says I can't go and dig my back garden up and claim the gold, if there is some gold there, claim that gold for myself. There is no law stating that I can't do that. If it's my land and I'm allowed to dig in there, by all means. So there are complications, and there are not, these clear definitions are not made. And then of course, the way that the broader thing, like, you can't speculate. Most people, buy things because they like things, as I said, right? Or buy to support something. They probably don't even do it for the profit sake of it, right? If that makes sense. It's not about profit all the time. However, as we know about how antiques work, people may put $100, $500, $1,000 for whatever reason, right? And say, well, I'm going to put this in this particular pot, and, hopefully one day, 5 years later, I'm going to take it out of my pot. Doesn't mean you speculated, because you're just going to take it out of your pot. Now, if inflation goes as it is now, then is it worth, whatever asset this is, right? Is it worth the same as when you put it in 5 years ago, right? No, it's not, because 5 years later, you know, $1 could be now $5, right? So based on that, it's only marketed and priced as it is. So I can't, you know, for me, look, this is the most simple I can explain this, right? Well, at least how I understand this, you know, that people talk about speculation, but what people don't realize is what you buy today, right, can be valued or devalued at a later stage, right? So depends on how rare or how scarce it is, you know, or how much demand there is, something could easily be worth a lot more, you know, in the secondary markets. It doesn't mean it's a security, you know, and something that may not fall into the category of a commodity because it's not designed like a commodity or whatever, right? So it doesn't have to be a commodity. Do you know what I mean? Look, we are in this current situation where, you know, this current era, let's call it an era, not a situation, right, of technology, empowered by technology. We have technology all around us. I mean, back in the days, there used to be people sitting on railway lines, right, who used to wait for railways to come through or trains to come through, and these guys would manually change signals. I mean, now you could sit behind a desk and have the whole thing automated, you know? So if somebody speculated this, you know, in the past, back in the 1800s, and said, right, okay, that once upon a time or one day we're going to have a computer system managing the entire railway network, or the train system, the tube, underground, whatever you call it, right? And we think that we should invest towards that because it's going to be more efficient, isn't that? Does that mean you're speculating? Oh, you're embracing what the future might bring you. So, I mean, I could go on, believe me, I could go on, but it is complete pathetic, in my opinion, how a simple term has been twisted into a critical financial instrument, you know? I mean, I could come out of home today with an umbrella because I'm speculating it might rain. So is the rain a commodity or maybe even security? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because the way things are going, it's just becoming really, really pathetic and stupid. America is a free country, right? It's supposed to be the new free world, right? New free world because obviously the British Empire, they weren't free, so they wanted freedom from that. That's what happened, right? So this is history. But where's your freedom? The only freedom that seems like you have is the thought, right? The perception that you are actually free. So you think you are free. That's all you're free to do, okay? Because you are actually not free. You know, there's agencies, government agencies, there's institutes, whatever, you know, all out there trying to basically govern you, control you. All right, that's what's really, really happening. So these are dangerous situations because, you know, a lot of people are falling for this trap, which doesn't help anybody. And I mean, a lot of people are losing a lot of money because of all of these drama. People have put their livelihoods inside this. And again, the media, the mainstream media wouldn't cover this, right? This video I'm publishing right now, YouTube might not like it. And I've noticed there are some videos that I've actually been warned, right? So YouTube might turn around and say, well, no, hold on, you can't say that, or you've said this. There was one video last year or the year before where YouTube actually made me take it down. And they made me take it down before I even published it. So you can imagine, right? They flagged me up and I said, oh, you know, I can't be bothered with the drama. So I did that. And here I am talking right now. Again, you know, they might not like it because I'm talking against the institutions, but actually I'm not. To be honest, I'm not. What I'm trying to say is the institutions need to learn and understand that, you know, yes, we, the people, right, of your country or of your regime, right, you know, whatever, your dictatorship or whatever you want to call it, right, we are the commodity. So if we are the commodity of a particular country, we are the assets of a particular country. We work, we pay taxes, we do whatever needs to be done in order for the country to be maintained and country to be prosperous, right? We do everything, right? So why is it that we are not allowed to benefit from it? Because think about it, the people, when you earn more, you spend more. But in scenarios where we've got United Kingdom, we've got USA, just to name a few, and there's plenty more of countries around Europe as well doing the same thing, they kind of mess around with the people, right? The asset of the country, to the extent where these people feel suffocated and feel like they can't expand. So they want to grow, right? You know, they're earning money, they want to expand, they want to make even more money, they want to, you know, they had started off with one person, have 10 people, they want to expand to get 100 people or maybe 1,000 people, and they want to make these companies very highly successful. But because of the limitations and restrictions certain countries put on them, these countries are moving out, and they're moving out and they're putting their companies elsewhere. Does that really benefit the country? Because by force, you're doing this. Now, America has a technique, right, which is the most hilarious. Is the only country in the world that actually does this. If you are an American citizen, right, that means citizen by birth, whatever, right? You are an American citizen, and you hold an American passport, or you call yourself an American, you've got a problem, because doesn't matter what part of the world you go to, you still pay taxes in USA. Can you imagine that, right? So they do this because they know that the pain they're giving to the people, right? People can't expand. So people want to get away. And there's like, oh, God, you want to get away? No, you can't. We still got you trapped because you're still coming back here and you're still going to do this. So a new trend has arisen, which is a lot of these awoke American citizens are giving up the citizenship. And the funny thing is, now the US government is actually also charging them, I think, about $2,500 to cancel their citizenship, which is fine. A lot of these guys are saying, sod it, whatever it be. And believe me, people are spending, $100,000 all the way up to $2 million to get the hell out of the system, because the way they looked at it is like, hold on, my company is earning $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, $1 billion, whatever. But I'm paying taxes on those regardless where I am. I'm having to operate outside the country to save cost, but only to give it back. Why don't I just renounce my citizenship and keep everything that I have? And that's what a lot of people are doing, because then they can expand and grow and be better, because that's what it is. It's like people need to grow. So I'll give you a good example of growth, right? So you've got Germany. Germany is a really good example of this, right? So Germany as a country, the people there are very wealthy. Very wealthy. People can't even be bothered to buy houses because the rent is so cheap, living cost is cheap, everything is cheap, and they're allowed to make money. They pay the taxes, of course they pay the taxes, but the tax is not that high. So that means they have an opportunity to better their life and become much better. Here's another country, Sweden. So if somebody manages to become a citizen of Sweden, which is not easy, by the way, but if you did manage to become a citizen of Sweden, right, 10 years, that's all you need to. You could be a street sweeper for 10 years. You sweep floors for 10 years. That's all you do, right? Or you're a janitor or whatever, right? 10 years. 10 years down the line, you are pretty much as same by wealth as the most average Swedish person out there. So there are countries like this. For example, Norway. Everything is so expensive, but the people are earning so much more, so they can afford to pay it. For them, it's cheap. For them, when they go to other countries, it's like, oh, we come to a third world country, because it's so cheap, right? So imagine this, like, people have bettered themselves, and the governments have assessed in doing this, which is why these nations, these countries do far better. So I know I've talked a lot about this, and right now today, and I'm probably boring you, and you're probably not even watching this right to the end. But the point is, guys, this message is not just for the retail. This message is for the global governments. I'm just a small YouTuber, but the point is, it's for the global governments. Think about your people. Think about your people. Your people are your assets. Your people are your commodity. Your people are your growth. Your people are your GDP, gross domestic product. That is your people. The more your people stay with you, the more your people, work with you, the more your people have an opportunity, the more they earn, the more they will spend right in here. Do you know what I mean? Right in your country. And that will grow the economy even further. But the moment you start basically, trying to over-regulate, regulation is cool, right? Regulation is cool. We need rules and regulations, right? Everything has rules and regulations, right? Even when I'm operating my Discord, I have rules and regulations. When I'm on YouTube, there are things I want to say or I can't say or I shouldn't say. That's rules and regulations, right? So doesn't matter how big, how serious it is or how simple it is, right? Rules and regulations are required in order to maintain order, full stop, right? But YouTube allows me to say certain things as long as I maintain the rule. As long as I have my disclaimers in place, I'm allowed to say certain things. So then the rules are there. I'm not breaking the rules, but they give me an opportunity to say, well, hold on, you need to disclose this information, that your explicit content, you're going to be swearing, you're going to be saying certain things. We allow that, not a problem, but just follow the rules, right? If you don't press the button or click the button when you upload, then you're breaking the rules. We've given you all the rules that say you are actually not limited to what you can do, right? You are absolutely unlimited to what you can do. Maybe not what you can say or what you can show, but the point is you are unlimited to what you can do on YouTube as a creator, but make sure you're being transparent with us, right? And follow the rules. So pretty simple, the way the guidelines are. And that's what I'm trying to say. So we need order. We need rules and regulations to maintain order, but we don't want to hinder growth, right? We want to be able to still grow in this industry and grow in whatever it be, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of technology we're using, whether it's crypto, whether it's digital currency, whether it's blockchains, whether it's software as a service, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, right, guys? Physical or digital. Ultimately, we need regulations. We need them to be slightly laxed in a sense that, yes, you are able to do certain things within a certain limit. Don't break the limit, you're fine, right? So that's what we need. And that's how we need governments to understand as well. It's like, okay, if we want to grow, if we're going to need technology to grow as a civilization, right? Because humanity is a race, right? And humanity is a civilization. A lot of people don't realize this, right? And you'll see, you might say, I've got my tinfoil hat on, but the point is I don't think we're alone. And maybe it might take us 100 years, maybe 1,000 years to find out. But the point is I don't think we're alone. And at some point, you will see that there will be a race, and that race would be something completely different. And then we will be completely identified as the human race, right? Because that's what we are. We are the human race, right? That's all we are, nothing else. And, yeah. And technology, obviously, that's what's going to propel us towards the future. Everything's been technological. The rise of men, right? Let's call it the rise of men. In the ancient times, big cities and empires were built based on technological advancements, not on the power of a bunch of people growing more rice and wheat. No, it wasn't based on, loads of bunch of people or slaves building the Amazon or whatever, right? The Aztecs or whatever, the Mayan structures. No, it wasn't, right? People came together from all regions because there was stability, right? And innovation. And that's what they came for. There was technology involved, right? This is what it is. This is technology, right? People think there is technology. So we need this to progress as a race. And yeah, that's how we're going to be. So I know it's right now, it's kind of sounding kind of crazy, but listen, I'm not going to talk anymore. So other than that, like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you on another one very soon. And we'll talk a little bit more about paradexes on the next one. But this one, I'm not going to talk about it. So yeah, adios, my amigos.